Welcome to day 74 of our school year. All right, let's go ahead and get down our beginning fraction. We have a total of 180 school days, and we are on day 74. Let's go ahead and find the factors of our numerator. Two factors we always know are 1 and the number itself. Using the commutative property of multiplication, I can also write it as 74 times 1. Now I'm going to go through my divisibility rules in order so I don't miss any possible factors. So in order after 1 is 2. The rule for 2 is that it ends in an even number. It doesn't end it in an even number, so 2 is a factor. I can get two groups of 30 out of 70, because that would be 60. That leaves 14, and that's 7 groups of 2 out of 14. So now I try the rule for 3. You add the digits together. I get 11. 11 is not a multiple of 3, so 3 is not a factor. I try 4. A way to check for 4 is look with the second factor with 2 if it's even or not. It is odd, so 4 is not a factor. We try 5. The rule for 5 is that it ends in a 0 or 5. It ends in a 4, so 5 is not a factor. We try 6. The rule for 6 is that both 2 and 3 are factors. 2 is, 3 is not, so 6 is not a factor. We try 7, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70, 77. 74 is not in that list, so 7 is not a factor. We try 8, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 74 is not in that list, so 8 is not a factor. We try 9. 9 has the same rule as 3. We add the digits together. We get 11. 11 is not a multiple of 9, so 9 is not a factor. We try 10. The rule for 10 is that it ends in a 0. It ends in a 4, so 10 is not a factor. We try 11. 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77. 74 is not in that list, so 11 is not a factor. I'm wondering if the second factor here is prime. Because if we go in order and our second factor is prime, then we're done, because it won't break down anymore. And yes, 37 is prime, so we're done. We found all our factors of 74. So let's list them from least to greatest. So 1, 2, 37, 74. That's 4 factors. That's more than 2 factors, so it is composite. Now we want to figure out what our greatest common factor is. So let's start with our greatest factor, which is 74. Let's see if that works. Make sure there's 74 in each of your groups, and you keep your shaded separated from your unshaded. So here I have 6, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 66 plus 4 is 70, plus 4 more is 74. I have 32 left over, so 74 did not work. So we need to try 37. 10, 20, 37. If you know your decomposition of 10, I didn't even have to count the 7. I knew if I just have 3 left over that I would have 7. Okay, 33 plus 4 is 37. So this is 6. 36 plus 1 is 37. 29 plus 8 is 37, and then I have 32 left over again, so 37 did not work. So let's try groups of 2. Your groups do not have to look like mine. Just make sure you have 2 in each group, and make sure you keep that shaded separated from your unshaded, because If you don't, then you're having fractions inside fractions, and that just makes it more complicated than it needs to be. That's high school level math we don't need to worry about yet. Yay, 2 worked. 2 is our greatest common factor. Okay, so each of my rows here has 5 groups of 2. So to find my total amount of groups of 2, I can count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 36, 37. All right. Now that we've done our division with our model, let's go ahead and do the division with our algorithm. We're dividing into groups of 2. Okay, so let's see. I know that 50 times 2 is 100. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. More on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. And then 40 times 2 is 80. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. Add these partial quotients together. I get 0 and 9. Here, let's do 25 times 2 because that's 50. I'm just going to try to take out the largest groups I can that I can easily multiply. More on top, no need to stop. More on top, no need to stop. Let's try 10 times 2. More on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. And that's just 2 times 2. Numbers the same, 0 is a game. Add these partial quotients together. 5 plus 0 plus 2 is 7. 2 plus 1 is 3. We still need to check using our inverse operation. Divisor times quotient plus remainder. Divisor times quotient plus remainder. Since our remainder is 0 for both, and the identity property of addition says when you add 0, it stays the same, we don't need to actually add the 0. 2 groups of 0 is 0. 2 groups of 9 tens is 18 tens. 2 groups of 7 is 14. 2 groups of 3 tens is 6 tens, plus 1 more is 7 tens. 180, that matches my dividend up here, so that checks. 74 matches my dividend up here, so that checks. That means my numerator is definitely 37, and my denominator is definitely 90. All right, let's go ahead and fill in our data collection page. Okay, it is trimester 2, week 3. Today is 11/22/19, and our fraction for today is 37/90. Now we're going to be off from school for a week, but we do not cross out a whole week because that would end up wasting paper at the end. So we only cross out if it's a day or some of the days in a week. We do not cross off a full week. So when we come back, it'll be trimester 2, week 4, and you will be back on December 2nd. That's the day you will be returning to school. Okay, let's go ahead and get out our number line. Okay, so we did groups of 2. our last group of 2, we have 31/90ths, then we have 32/90ths. Okay, that is equivalent to 16/45. That is the simplest form. Then we have 33/90ths, which is equivalent to 22/60ths, and 11/30ths, which is the simplest form. 34/90ths, which is equivalent to 17/45. That's the simplest form. 35/90ths. That one is equivalent to 7/18. That's the simplest form, or our equivalent fraction in lowest terms. 36/90ths, well, that is equivalent to 2/5, which is our simplest form, or equivalent fraction in lowest terms. And then today is 37/90ths. There's no lines below it because it is our simplest form, or equivalent fraction in lowest terms. Okay, go ahead and put your number line away, erase your worksheet, and thank you for joining me.